everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Dickish at Best, our off-topic podcast that is adult-oriented, rated R for hardware use of words like fuck, like Brett did on Triangle Squared last week. But we got away with that because that was PG-13 and you're allowed one. As you guys may know me from Triangle Squared, I'm Saul Bridges. To my left is...
Blaze Lewis.
And then to my right is...
Senior Beck. Blaze, I love that we put the little pink thing on the back of your mic. It just it helps me remember that you survived breast cancer. Actually, could you imagine how fucking terrifying it would be to get breast cancer? That's real talk.
No, that's real talk.
Yeah, real talk.
I mean,
could you imagine getting cervical cancer?
Can you get cervical cancer as a dude?
Do you have a cervix?
No, but what the? I was
Do you
like,
have
where
an
did that
ass
come
cervix
from?
now?
I do. I smuggled it when I was born. Took my mommy's.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Too tired for this shit.
Okay.
Already.
My ovaries are too.
Well, Saul, to open the show off, what's your weird fake conspiracy theory that we can then look into and see if it's actually real, or if somebody actually believes it?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that
Wendy from Wendy's is actually Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
No, Wendy from Wendy's.
I think
is actually,
they wanted us to think that they killed that guy.
No, it's actually a Nazi mascot.
Wendy's is?
That's just what I'm going off the top of my head.
Okay.
Let me see. Wendy's is Nazi. That's what I'm going to type in to Google.
And it's, you know, the Wendy's W's, it's them as a swastika with the middles taken out.
Here we go.
He actually stumbles upon a...
Did Wendy's become an accidental neo-Nazi?
Neo.
Here's the great thing about the
Neo-Nazi.
internet. If you can think it up in your mind, there's
Oh,
someone who's probably
there's-
written an article, whether it's a parody or not.
They're saying because that Wendy's posted a Pepe meme.
Oh.
So generally, you know, if you
So yeah, still the craziness of the internet
yeah,
that we live in.
If you enjoy Pepe, that means you're a Nazi.
Also,
Is that
dude,
how it's pronounced?
Pepe? Yeah, it's not Pee-Pee. Pepe the Frog.
Peppy?
Pepe?
I thought it was like peep.
Peep.
Yeah.
Peep the frog.
Peep.
Yo, dude, Peep my frog. Now, dude, can we talk about Wendy's Twitter, though? Their Twitter is ridiculous. Any company that will go as far as to just for Twitter clout, essentially, put out a rap album is really just going out of their way.
It's gotten to where a lot of places are trying to keep up with that, too. You know, Arby's all of a sudden is...
Arby's does good, though, because they niched out
They did a Mario
something that
Maker.
no one was doing.
They did a Mario Maker level.
Well, have you seen all the other stuff that they've been doing in general? But yeah, the Mario Maker level was interesting. But all the game-based stuff that they do in general with like their cardboard boxes and foil and Arby's sauce, it's kind of cool.
I need to go to our Arby's now that it's been remade.
Dude, I drove by that like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, when the hell did our Arby's actually get someone to fund it getting remodeled?
It's been remodeled for like the past 6 months now.
Oh, I know, but I just hadn't noticed it because I don't really eat
It
Arby's.
looks nice.
But I used to not eat Arby's, partially because I don't just love Arby's anyway, at least from the experience I've had at ours. But also, our Arby's looked like it was 37 years old. I'm pretty sure that Arby's looked that way before I was born.
To stumble upon.
Mm.
It's 37, the age it starts looking like shit.
If so, I got about, 12 years before I start looking terrible?
I have 9.
Blaze, where you at? 10, right? Aren't you 27? Good
Yep.
Lord.
Yep, I'm old.
What's your birthday?
I'm not putting that out there.
say it for the camera.
Haven't we already gone through this?
Yeah,
Social
no, every
Security,
time.
please?
Yeah, every time Saul's
Social
trying to give out
Security.
all my info.
And your address.
Yeah. What's that road you live on called again?
What's your brother's maiden name?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that one, I don't think.
Nope.
Surprisingly.
Just start saying things you think it is.
Nah. I ain't even going to throw it out there. I mean,
The name of your childhood pet.
Common Mormon women names.
have you ever seen... Good Lord. Have you ever seen the people, like, have you seen the memes, and you're not on Facebook, so it's a little different, but you can still see it every now and then, I'm sure, or you've seen someone who has talked about it, but on Facebook, it'll be people who are sharing memes, and it'll be like, funny name generator, and it's like your birthday,
It's a phishing
your
scam.
day of the year, dude. All of it, and I try and tell people, I'm like, I look at it all the time. I'm like, are you so oblivious to the fact? Like, why do you think people are so hard set on getting? Like, they're trying to make you giving out your information
So
fun.
they can get your password.
That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And then when people be like, what was your dog's fate? Like, what was your first dog's name? Here's
It's
my
the same
first
with
dog.
The porn star names. Like your porn star name is, the first name is your pet's animal, and then the second one's the street you grew up on.
Mm-hmm. It's all
the same
this,
thing.
and that's what's crazy to me is that no one. It's how much people are either removed from technology or how much they just don't give a shit about the fact that this is even coming. Well, I don't care if they're getting my information so they can steal my passwords. I wanted people to know what my porn name was.
Well, what's funny about that is that like
Make up your own porn name.
For every password that I have for like a website of any kind, they always have like the password retrieval service that you could do, and they have like, here's a list of questions, or you can ask your own.
Yep.
I ask my own question and give it an answer that does not make sense.
Hey, did y'all check on the Equifax thing?
Oh, to see if you can get your $120?
I did it after they announced they were like, I went to it to go do it, and they announced they're not doing it anymore. So that they could not meet the requirements for everybody who was getting it, so they're going to give everybody free credit on it instead. So now you don't get your $100.
Really? I thought that was court determined though.
No, it could be, but like, it just could be that like, since Equifax probably can't go bankrupt due to the nature of the company.
Well, there's two different ones. Capital One had something similar, and they're doing.
See, I don't have Capital One.
I
have a Capital One credit card that I don't use
And Equifax
anymore.
has their own too.
Yeah, but Capital One's still there. I got an email from PlayStation the other day about Capital One saying, and there's like, we do through their PlayStation card.
We'll give you free credit monitoring. Yeah, like that. Really.
Mm-hmm. Free credit monitoring is like a bare minimum that you have to supply if you have a information leak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not only that, but it's like you can do free credit monitoring yourself from Credit Karma.
Yeah.
It tells you everything that they will tell you.
Credit Karma.
Please sponsor the show.
Download Credit Karma so you can get your credit in check. Man, I don't think people understand how important credit is nowadays, especially for people our age.
That's a sticky subject.
Credit's weird.
Is it? How?
Because it's arguable on both sides. It's important. Don't get me wrong, but that's if you want to get yourself in more debt. That's important.
Yeah,
not really though. I mean, technically, any time.
That's why it's weird. It's a way you can go either way with that argument.
Yeah, but
there's a couple things. Having good credit can make you not have to pay down payments or
deposits,
which is irresponsible
deposits
anyway. Because if you're buying something, you need to.
Well, I don't mean that. I mean those things like your cell phone bill. Like whenever I moved my cell phone bill to my name, my credit was already high enough that I didn't have to pay a deposit. Whenever I switched all the stuff like the electricity and water and everything over to my name, normally you have to put a deposit down. They looked at my credit and they're like, "Oh, your credit's great. You didn't have to put a deposit."
Yeah, and it's like a mortgage for a home. You get your interest rate judged at your credit score. And
of course, that goes into what he's talking about.
Yeah, but you're
putting yourself in more debt. So the need for the credit is just to put yourself in further debt.
That's not true debt, though.
What is a mortgage?
Yes, that's not true debt.
Well, now why do you think that, or why do you say that?
Because any time you buy a car or mortgage, that's not considered true debt because you're then getting what you're buying. You're getting the use of it.
Well, no, but a car depreciates dramatically as soon as you own it.
Yeah. Right. So if you go,
you're already at a net loss, let alone with interest and.
Well, I mean, do we not consider? So, what do you mean by true debt? Would be the question. Because
true debt is debt you truly have, such as a hospital bill or something that you've not paid on, or that something that's defunct and now you are in collection.
That's not.
The second you go to collections. Is
so okay, but I get what you mean now. Blaze is talking about the general term use of debt, which is if you owe somebody something,
right? But I'm not.
No matter where you're at in the stance of it, you're talking about debt when you're in the level of debt that you are no longer on top of.
In your definition, though, that could roll over real quick. You can just have a bunch of. It's not true debt. Well, shit, I got fired. All of a sudden, this is then all debt can turn into true debt.
That's an easy out for anything. Like anytime you owe anybody money, I got fired. Or
I'm not saying it's easy out. I'm not saying that's an out. I'm saying by your debt, you're saying, but it's not true debt. Well, it can become true debt very quickly. It's still to me that it's very real.
The nature of the subject of what it is, it's not true debt. Just like so the way you brought up,
I disagree with that wording.
I don't. I think.
Well, are you saying true debt as in like what the financial institutions consider to be true to be debt that? But I don't think that's necessary because when you go to Credit Karma, it talks about what is your overall debt, and my overall debt includes my car payment.
Right, it's going to include anything that you have an outstanding balance on.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's true debt to yourself because you're getting the use out of it. You don't buy. The average American doesn't buy a new car at cost out of pocket.
So real quick, so is true debt something that you're giving your own definition to, or is this something that's like a financial institution? That's what we're trying to figure out.
That's not a real term.
Because
it's like
makes sense as a real term.
Yeah, I was about to say because realistically, if you're getting, they're like, fuck you. You owe $30,000 on this house. You may be living in this house, but you owe that $30,000.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is that like to get a new house or a new car, you got to go into debt as an average American. You don't buy that stuff outright.
Yeah, I mean, as an average American, at least housing. Cars are a little different. There are people
new car.
New car, but you can go into debt on cars that are old.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about new car is the one it would happen on. You don't typically. You could go in and need a $6,000 loan to buy a used car, but
that's still considered. To me, it's anything that once you break past just a personal loan, which is like $2,500 to $3,000 at most banks. Once you pass that, you're in what I'm going to consider just full on debt. I mean, you're still in debt under a personal thing, but you don't. When you get a personal loan, there's no collateral or anything like that. At least in the sense of like when you get a vehicle loan, the car is the collateral. You have to have insurance on it. If you can get a car with money that you buy just from a personal loan, it's almost like a wash because they don't come and take the car because they don't know what you bought with it. It's a personal loan.
Yeah,
it just goes to
repo other things in your house though.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends what you put up for.
Yeah, If you put up collateral, if you had to put up collateral,
but if you don't put up collateral, they're just going to come repo anything of value.
It's like my Grom isn't an auto loan. My Grom is a personal loan with the Grom's title as the collateral.
Yeah, so they'll come in. But if you didn't have the Grom's title, they'll come to the current address you have on file.
They have. You give them the title. They don't just come take your shit. Any movie that does that, it's because
it's
that
not
stuff
a movie.
was bought
I've
with
seen
credit
it personally
cards.
happen, and
that means that stuff that or furniture bought through rental companies. I know
people who like. I won't say his name, but it starts with a C. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Who buys cars too much? Who does not tell them what they're buying with it, and he does not put anything for collateral except his address. And he's had that happen twice now, where they will call him and he has to scrape up the money, and therefore it goes into the cycle of credit card debt because he'll pay with them using his credit card over the phone.
Well, this is crazy. In case you didn't know, Dickish at Best is a finance podcast.
Yeah, but I don't think of anything as true debt. Think of it as an apartment. You need a good credit score to get a good apartment.
But it's true.
Do you?
It's true debt because they'll come fucking take it from you if you don't pay that bill, Saul. And it'll go permanently down on your... Well, not permanently. There's all sorts of...
Well, you can easily...
There's bankruptcy and stuff like that.
Anything disappears off your credit after 7 years.
Except for student loan.
Unless you've been paying on it. That's the thing. If you keep paying on a loan, you're behind on... It's interesting because if you keep paying on one...
You're admitting...
You're still...
You're considered active in that.
Considered active. So it's going to be on your credit history in like 7 years until after you're done paying for it. It will be gone in 7 years.
So technically, if you go one day,
or if you quit paying on it, or God forbid, quit paying on it and just dodge them, 7 years that's off your credit.
Yeah, but you have to have a good credit score to get a good apartment.
You know what though? I mean that is important. I just never had to do that. All the living situations I've been in have been something where it was just like we're renting it, but it's from somebody we know and it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But apartments are of course different. But what about normal renting situation?
Absolutely.
So a normal landlord can look into your credit.
And his dad does. Yes.
So
I figured. I mean, it makes sense.
Criminal checks.
That first little rent house had near. They did a credit check on it.
And they were like, you got shit ass credit. No, you weren't bad right then. Huh?
No, I had bomb ass credit back then.
Yeah.
And you'll get a ding on your credit score too of the individual person who's checking on you if they use an actual service to check it.
You'll get a what on your credit?
A ding.
Oh, a ding. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
for an inquiry.
Yeah, if they use which you hope that they would use a credible.
Dedicated credible service. Yeah. And I mean, if you plan on buying even a used car from a car lot, you have to have somewhat good decent credit to get a good interest rate. Yes, you do. Yeah,
my dad.
I'm not talking about Dad's parking lot. I'm talking about if I go get a certified pre-owned car.
I guarantee you, my credit is average now, but I guarantee even with my bad credit, I can go to Hyundai and get a car.
Well, he did say with a good interest rate. Yeah,
is what I'm talking about. You can go get any car you want if you have zero credit.
Oh, I got stories, son. My first car was 25% interest rate.
Or you're going to have an interest rate of 25 to 24%, 26% even in most cases. Worst case scenario.
But that's where if you have the money down, you can argue
the money
that
down
regardless.
Money down does not help you after a certain point of credit.
I promise you, but they want a certain. If they can get a certain amount of money down from you, where they reduce that risk of loss, and they're making up where they're getting to where they have. Not
from a non-certified place.
Well, and it depends on a number of things, right? What do you consider to be a good credit? Honestly, so a little story time. Well, first car, 25% interest rate, right? Massive, ridiculous. Next car I got, $2,000.
And how much was the car?
Oh no, it wasn't. It was $1,000. It's like $1,500 was what it was.
$1,500
on a $12,000 car.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's not. I promise you, if like for that $12,000 car, if he had $4,000 or $5,000, they would.
No one with bad credit is going to have that spare cash.
Well, I mean
it's not spare cash.
It's also out of an argument to an extent. I mean, the argument is if in any world you had the ability to come up there with five, because maybe you have terrible credit. This is really what Blaze is talking about. For people who've never worked on building their credit because they don't see the value in the credit, not in the value of saving money. I do know people who save money and have no credit at all because they buy everything outright.
Yeah, they don't put themselves into
or at least as close to outright as possible. Yeah, so I mean, you could say that there is, of course, somebody who exists out there who looks and goes, okay, I have saved $7,500, and that $7,500 I'm going to go to put on this $15,000.
I'm going to go get a new car just to be like, hey, look, Saul, motherfucker, 10%.
That's still not great either.
But that's what I was getting to a second ago. Is my first car was 25% interest, right? Which is crazy. I didn't have enough down to my down payment wasn't enough of the first payment to make sense, or enough of the overall cost to dilute that enough. So again, my interest rate was ridiculous. Next time I got a car, and I technically went a little bit upside down because of what I was doing. I was close to paying that car off, but I was like, I can either wait and pay it off, or I can just go ahead and go upside down. And I made the decision of, I make enough money right now that I can afford to do it. Now that's Hannah's car, and that car is paid off. In 3 years we paid it off. Yeah. And it was supposed to be a 7-year loan, but the interest rate on that was a 8.9 or a 7.9. I can't remember which one. And that is still not, when you're talking good, dude. My interest rate on my current car is 1.4%.
Mine's 4%.
Yeah. So when you look
that
at
was with a $3,000 down payment on a $25,000 car.
Yeah. So, and well, to be fair, mine was 2.4%, and then when I got it refinanced, it's 1.4%.
Yeah, and also credit score is somewhat pretty decent.
Yeah, but so when you look at those things, it's like, yeah, if you want a great credit score of like somewhere under 5%, which is what I think a lot of people would consider great, plus. You need a good credit score. But I think you can still, if you have enough of a down payment, I think you can get somewhere around a 10% interest rate, which really isn't bad.
So the same guy who did the sales for my car, same guy that did the same for my car. Oh. Yeah, but you may say not going to debt, but I know if my car doesn't break down, I have a warranty system going to protect me.
Oh no, that's entirely.
They'll fuck you on that too.
That's entirely why I bought my car.
No, they won't. Hyundai's pretty good about their warranty programs.
Okay.
So I know that it comes with a peace of mind. Well, yeah, but
okay.
So what happens if I spend $6,000 on a used car from a car lot that somebody got at auction?
You can get a warranty there too. Same thing. Same
piece of paper. Right. Same thing. Same piece of paper.
Unless the window sticker says as is, and then they're like, "Hey, fuck you."
No, you can purchase an additional warranty that actually goes through as usually the same companies that the big ones used to. It's all
and those warranties go through your creditor, don't they, or whoever they use to be their creditor? So whoever does
the sales department at the car lot.
Well, and it depends because like some places.
So the whole point of those warranties that they. In newer car lots, they're bad about getting you paid for ones you don't need. But,
well, yeah, if you're dumb and you sign up for like tire gap and stuff like that, then yeah.
I'd like to see what warranties you got, Saul.
I got I got two. I got the electronics protection coverage.
I did too.
And then I got the warranty that came with the car. That's the Hyundai certified.
And you
warranty.
don't pay for that.
And I don't pay for that. You pay. I think it was $500 for the other warranty, right? $500 a year for as long as I own the car or something.
I can't remember. Mine was a one time.
$450.
Whatever it was a one time. Okay. And the reason I even did it is because there's.
Do you remember how much it was?
Nah. But there's a ton of electronics in both of our cars.
Yeah, so
and it gets to the point of like, literally, if something does go wrong with this, even if you're paying more up front, it's easier to let them have to handle it.
Yeah, my Bluetooth radio fucks up. I just go take it to Hyundai and be like, hey, it's messed up.
And my car, just because when I bought it, I ended up getting my tire warranty was covered, and I've not had to pay for a tire on that car yet. Oh, I had to pay $12 because it pays for a tire up to $250. They had to special order a tire one time.
The tire is under electronics, isn't it?
No. The TPS sensor might be, which is the tire pressure system. The tire one, I don't know why I got it, but I mean, if I paid for it, it wasn't a massive difference.
The actual tire one for flat tires and stuff like that, it's part of the roadside assistance, which is your lifetime warranty.
That's probably right. Then, yeah. But either way,
well, it's part of your lifetime warranty, but it's part of the section that's the 8-year or
10-year, 100,000 miles.
10-year, 100,000 miles.
This is uninteresting.
It's an adult-oriented
car stuff are weird.
An adult-oriented podcast.
Well, I have a great story, by the way, that doesn't involve me, but I can just imagine every bit of it, and it's just hilarious. So Brandon Edwards, one of our patrons and longtime friend, so he lives up in Benton. And anyway, so he was working, and he does dish installation stuff.
Bentonville or Benton?
Benton.
Okay.
And he does dish installation, and sometimes he has to go out and like change boxes around for people. And there was a customer call of a customer who had moved the cable on a box and did not know where to plug it back into. So literally the only reason he had to go there is already for the stupid fucking reason of literally plugging an HDMI cord back into the cable box.
Was it? Oh, I thought you were gonna say something like he unintentionally got black box or something.
No, but
or black satellite, I guess is what that would be called.
Now that happened. So Brandon walks in to do the cord thing, and he said the guy lives in like kind of like a studio place where it's like
open.
But it's not. He said it's kind of like a studio apartment, but somewhere in between like a shotgun house and a studio apartment, where it's like you have to before you can get to his bedroom, you have to go through his dining room and his living room, and then it's his bedroom. It's like in that order. Or whatever, and he's like, I'm going to the living room. He goes, so I have to pass through the dining room first. He goes, in the dining room, there's a stack. He goes, there's just a mountain of gay porn just out. And he's like, this guy's like 50. He's wearing a robe with the really short shorts on under it. And then he's like, I walked through that. He goes, then the next room is and then in the living room,
it's
whenever I'm walking through, in the living room or wherever, he said that there was it's so stupid. There was G.I. Joes, just a bunch of them lined up, and all of them were like modified to have like dicks on them.
So that unplugging the cable
happen.
That cable was intentional then.
That's exactly what I said. I said, it sounds like you had somebody that was looking for him for somebody. Because I was like, anybody who has even a little bit of self-thought would be like, someone would walk in and probably see this. And I'm not judging the guy at all. If he likes what he likes, that's fine. But not even attempting to cover it up in any fashion. And the way he was, it's like.
He wanted to see your reaction. You like G.I. Joes? I like G.I. Joes.
They were all in like super weird poses and had like giant dicks and like dildos and crazy clothes on them, but they were G.I. Joes, so like ripped and muscly. And I just imagine,
man, that reminds me of.
That's got to be a weird job, first of all, because here's the thing: he does it through a contract company for Dish, but he has a work phone, and it's like a cell phone, and that number goes to each person so they can call him as they need. I was like, I would be a little worried about that person having my phone number, even if it was a work phone. I was like, what if you get a text one day? It's like, hey, big boy, you want to go to lunch?
One of my childhood friends.
I'd like to get free lunch.
The same one in the story that I was talking about.
Depending on what you're willing to do now.
We would, his uncle, you know where, if I say the homes on County, North County, do you know what I'm talking about?
The homes on County.
The ones right before the interstate or the ones right before Walmart?
Well, it's not the apartments before interstate, but they're in between interstate and Walmart. But it's called, if I just say the homes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I know.
Okay. The cul-de-sac area.
Yes. So his uncle lived over there, and we would go over to his uncle's house every now and then, just to. Yes. And we'd go there to see his uncle every now and then with him and his dad. And his uncle had this fetish for Kim Possible.
Ooh.
And I mean,
that's realistic.
And I mean, this dude was like 80 years old. He had hundreds of pictures of Kim Possible up on the walls, stapled to the wall. Not like tacked in.
Okay.
Not like picture frame. They were stapled to the wall.
Okay.
He had 50 to 100 action figures of like McDonald's toys and like regular Kim Possible toys just scattered everywhere. His computer had a Kim Possible wallpaper on it. He had
he was serious.
He had everything was Kim Possible.
So is it a fetish or just a fandom?
No,
that's the question.
Because there's stuff on his computer that was told to me that is involving Kim Possible in adult activities.
Okay, well that's told to you. For being fair, to be fair, my story I just told you was told to me.
It's told to me by his brother, my friend's dad, told me that.
Okay, sure.
So at that point, I would believe it. And he was real strange.
Well, and if
very scary.
While we won't say, I mean, it's like Bob, and I've talked to you about Bob, and of course you know about Bob. It's like you can't always. It's kind of weird to want to say much about him because he isn't quite all there.
Yeah.
So it's like, how harmless
that's why
harmful is this?
That's why I said the houses or the homes, because that kind of puts you an idea of why they're like, or an excuse for them.
Yeah, and I don't want to even call it an excuse. It's just
a reason.
Look, and this brings us into weirder things too, right? So how old was this guy? You said he was like 80?
Probably around 80.
Okay,
80
so
or 85. He was old.
So there goes that, first of all, right? And it's like, how did an 85-year-old end up watching Kim Possible and getting into a show which is about a teenage girl?
Yeah. He's very lucid of a person. He's just very weird.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one point of weirdness. But then that brings me to the topic of, isn't it weird that, like, okay, so this is the way I can kind of compare this is like, when I was young, I had a crush on Selena Gomez, but she was age appropriate. But because she's a living being, she scales with me. So my crush on Selena Gomez, even if it started at a point when we were both of that age, it's fine because we are both of the age where that's fine. Yeah, like whereas you Kim Possible is a static, right? So
we were. Yeah.
Does it get weird?
As a teenager watching it, being like, she's got some midriff.
But when you look at that, it's like if you start liking Kim Possible, you're 12 and you see her and you're like, I kind of have a thing for Kim Possible. She's a cute cartoon.
Yeah, you get to be 17 or 18 and she's still 12 or whatever.
Yeah, she is perpetually this age because of what she was written to be, and it's a cartoon show.
That's what makes it creepy.
And then it's like, then that's really weird because it's not that you intentionally did it. It's something that formed in you at a young age, and you can potentially continue to carry.
It's almost like I won't say weaned off of it, but it's almost like it's like any crush. Like I had a crush on Zelda from Ocarina of Time whenever that came out.
You mean like Link?
8. No,
everyone gets the names wrong.
Excuse me,
but obviously
Fake
like
gamer.
It's one of those things.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay,
I dropped off.
I don't watch Teen Titans all that much anymore. But like when Teen Titans comes on, I don't even know how old they're supposed to.
The hell with Robin. It was all about Raven.
Robin, yeah, no, but like, dude, Raven and Starfire. It's like, and I don't even know. Like, are they supposed to be considered teens? They're Teen Titans. Yeah. So,
but we were.
But
teens.
Are they 18?
We were teens.
That's the question, isn't it?
But my point being is it weird? Because like when I see them, I'm like, man, I still am like, yeah, Raven's kind of fine, but that's all tied into emotions that got into me when I was young.
That's already weird for me because like I get it when you're young.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's all built on that. It's not like I've really been watching it and thinking about it.
Like, even like an adult, people like look up like Family Guy porn. It's like you're weird. It's cartoons.
Well, okay, it's cartoons. That's one thing. But realistically, first of all,
you mean the ones that are always on the side as you're scrolling down the real porn? It's like,
you're like, wait a minute.
The reason those things still exist is because they still get clicks.
Of course they do. Well, actually, realistically,
it's probably been around for 15 years and they were using the same assets.
The same ad. You never know. I mean, honestly. But
like one time I saw Jeepers Creepers porn. I'm like,
oh no!
Why is this there?
Was it like the monster?
It was the monster.
Sorry.
It was
porn sites get weird. Have y'all seen the guy who's on Pornhub who doesn't do any of this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
It's a Pornhub parody account.
Ken, I think is his name. Like he's nice guy Ken or whatever.
Something like that. And all of the videos are thumbnails and titles of real porn events, but skewed to be normal. So it's like
me delivering a pizza, not having sex with you or something.
Yeah, it's like boss and secretary have great work relationship.
What is that guy's name? I'm just stuffing.
And he's wearing like every thumbnail. He's wearing the same sweater. And it's all just ridiculous stuff, but it's also all the videos are only like 13 seconds. But it's first of all, it's a brilliant idea because
Ryan Creamer, and his most popular upload is I encourage you as you continue searching for the right thing to come to.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's a whole. I mean, dude, it's everything that you can imagine.
I deliver you a pizza and I don't put my wiener in it.
Every thumbnail.
Coincidentally, searching on Google, nice guy Pornhub does not bring you to Pornhub. It's kind of worried.
So what does it bring you to? Whatever you're on right now? Is it a Reddit post?
No, I'm just on.
Are you on Pornhub?
Website. No,
real time Pornhub.
I'm on BuzzFeed News, which I hate BuzzFeed. But here's one. I, your stepbrother, decline your advances, but am flattered nonetheless.
I ride in a taxi and don't have sex with the driver.
POV forehead kiss compilation.
Oh my god!
I hug you and say what was that?
I had a really good time tonight.
Anyway, you know what? That's how we turn around the porn culture. We just gotta get some people in there willing to do some parody and change it one good move at a time. It's a lot better than
they're already doing. They just want to get paid. They don't.
You almost wonder, was the whole idea behind that? They could have done all those videos in one day. Just scroll through Pornhub for about 3 minutes and just go through and be like, what are the thumbnails and titles that we see most commonly popping up?
I offer you water in case you are parched post orgasm. Yeah. He's done Reddit AMAs and stuff. Like he's become a like a sensational.
So here's what I don't know. Is he at all involved in the actual porn industry, or is he just a dude on Pornhub being ridiculous?
In his AMA, let me see if I can find it. He said what he does professionally, and he was like, I started doing this as a joke, but it caught on, so I kept doing it. Let me see though. It's something crazy. And they're actual videos too.
Oh yeah, they're like 13 to 15 seconds, but I mean, it's not like there's much to them.
He works for College Humor.
Oh, okay. I could see that. That actually seems in line with the idea.
Yeah.
I'd do that. If anybody wanted to watch it. Not that it would. It's one of those ideas that as soon as you see it, it's like, damn, I could have had that thought first.
Well, yeah.
But could you really?
This question says, have you been able to make a good amount of money from your Pornhub videos? And then he says, their ad revenue is pretty good. I paid rent with it last month.
God.
So at least $600 to $800 around here. And he probably lives in like California or New York or something.
Which is
$1,200, $1,500. So
see now, okay, I encourage all listeners and viewers, go to Pornhub and watch this man. Let's continue to pay this man. Every time that you go to Pornhub to actually rub one off, also click one of his videos so you can give him a little bit of ad revenue. That's how we're going to keep this man afloat.
I'm blanking. What is MD state?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah.
So it's Maryland, right?
Okay.
That's where he's from on Twitter at least.
I have no reference point.
You have no reference point for what?
For the rent in Maryland.
Let's see. Average cost. We'll actually look it up. This is creepy.
Yeah, this is a little creepy. We're all witnessing Saul in real time creep people out.
Not really. A rent in...
Saul's the kind of guy gets on a message board and be like, "Hey, where do you live?"
Down in Africa.
Let's see.
Would you be the guy that offers plane rides? $1,200.
Yeah, according to smartasset.com.
Okay.
So it's a website you can go to and type in your mortgage and stuff, and like I guess get good rates. Back on the mortgage.
Have you got to watch the Joe Rogan Bernie Sanders episode
Loved
yet?
it.
I did.
I didn't get to finish it.
Okay, I have one question though, and one of you might be able to actually answer.
I only got about 40 minutes in.
Oh, it's only like an hour and 10.
Yeah, 27 minutes left. An hour and 7 minutes.
One of the biggest questions that I wish that he would have I wish Joe would have asked him actually, and it's something that I just still don't understand. Partially because I need to look it up too, but I would like to see somebody who's proposing legislation for it give the example. Just because I feel like it's something that should be covered. Joe talks to him about, raising $15 an hour, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and what you're doing there. And he's like, is there not? He offers like, what about people who are new to the workforce who don't need that much money? He's like, do we put a limit on to where?
It's not that you don't need that much money. It's that it's there's gonna be a lot of people doing it.
Well, it's not even that. His biggest thing was talking about specifically. He was talking about 16 and 17, 8-year-olds primarily who start working and still live at home with their parents and have some form of income, and it doesn't necessarily need to be $15 an hour. And he was saying, do we put an age stipulation in to where before 18, once they turn 18, then the minimum wage goes up, or does literally every worker in the market, regardless of any age, and really we're talking about 16 and 17-year-olds.
My argument to that one would have been, what's to keep? Well, no, we're just going to hire. We don't discriminate against age, but we just happen to have a lot of 17-year-olds.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But even then, the fact that he was on the mindset of thinking of ways that you could kind of come to a compromise with it is one thing. But one of the things I feel like wasn't really addressed, and I'm curious about, is what happens if you just take, okay, I consider it like a different form of inflation. Do you remember like minimum wage goes up because items are already going up? And then for a short window, you kind of have the minimum wage helping you keep up with the items before the items just go up again, because now they're having to pay people more because of that minimum wage increase.
And more items are being bought, more.
And it continues to kind of hit this cycle of what happens if you just give people $15 an hour minimum wage, but then all the goods and stuff go up because of the increase in labor cost across the board. If all the goods go up just as much, then isn't it just now that you have a bigger number to you're falling back on?
Well,
and if that doesn't happen,
hell, when my dad was when I was born, he was making at the water company $4.50 an hour.
Yeah, no, exactly. And minimum wage when we were kids was like $4.50 or something like that.
It's still sad that here, 20 years later, it's still like $7.25
in Arkansas. It's $8.50.
$8.50.
Yeah, it's $7.25 in Texas.
Which
you sure?
Oh. Yeah, hadn't happened. But Texas normally pays above the minimum wage.
Well, they don't do
But that is what there's.
Taxes.
That's what. Okay, the reason I say that is that if I'm not mistaken, $7.25 or $7.50, one of the two, is the literal national minimum wage. Texas doesn't have one on top of that. Arkansas put one in place to make it $8.50.
Okay.
But Texas doesn't. But Texas
doesn't do state taxes.
Texas seldom ends up even paying people minimum wage anyway, because most of the places of Texas you end up with pretty good jobs. I mean, it's a good work market. But it goes back to my thing. I wish that I would have heard Bernie's answer to how does raising the minimum wage not just be a short-term solution to a problem that will eventually roll back right around.
And there's a lot of taking his word for it stuff, just no, that's not true, this, which is going to happen when you're talking to politicians anyway. And but I was impressed with him I understood him a lot more.
That's what I was going to get. It showed me that he's always needed long-form conversation way more, because one of the easiest things, he comes off as crazy. He does.
Well, and that's one of my things too, is that
because he gets aggravated because
and he gets 45 seconds to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's how do you put out a radical idea? And 45 seconds explain it well.
I was gonna say I've always been a fan of his ideas and stuff, but every time I've ever seen him, he comes across like what you said was crazy. And this actually made me more of a fan of him, because he actually made sense of a lot of things. But like,
he feels more human.
Yeah, it is more casual of a conversation and not like a debate. But my answer to your question is that I don't think anybody has that answer, like, because it goes up so much per dollar minimum wage. We've never done that in this style of economy where we don't have stuff that holding us back like back then.
Well, thing is, that's where you get people with examples from different countries that have done something similar, maybe not the same amount, but well,
even then there's different tariffs and stuff we're paying. There's different tax rates for each state you have to take into account. There's a lot of things at motion. But my thing is that I've always thought in the back of my head, not as an all end all be all solution, but when minimum wage does go up to $15 an hour and it doubles some people's salaries in a way, aren't people buying more stuff?
You see, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is the answer to why cost won't go up is because there'll be people with more money, so more buying power and more stuff being circulated
that's
means that the volume of sales will be able to neglect the need for the price to go up, because it's like they're selling more.
Then you need more workers. Then you pay more workers.
Yeah, but you're making more money. You're making more profit.
But I still see it just seems like a cycle no matter what you do. Yeah. And I could be wrong. There could be an answer.
Yeah,
but I just don't.
By no means
it's not obvious to me. It's not an apparent.
And I think that in the next 10 years, there's not going to be as widespread or as common.
Well, didn't they go into
as paying another worker?
Well, and then automation's coming up so high.
That's what I'm talking about. The automation's going to be the thing. So
but then less people have jobs. So just because the people who have jobs make $15 an hour, how do you handle the people?
You could find a job at a somewhat livable wage without having in a different field, without having to worry about the experience as a factory worker if they're all going automaton.
Well, that's the problem though. What's going to be left? Programming the automation?
There's still people make it sound like it's gonna. Well, yeah, people make it sound like that's what's gonna happen. The fact of the matter is that's not gonna happen. Stores are gonna continue to have people in them for at least the next 20 years, unless they can literally make stores have kiosk.
Amazon
at everything.
The Amazon stores don't.
Yeah, the Amazon store is also part of the billion-dollar corporation that doesn't pay taxes.
Yeah, but what are we talking about? Walmart. Walmart could do this easily.
Yeah,
if they really wanted to. Now, I'll give you this.
They make you do.
I'll give you this. I get what you're saying, but even then, stocking, you're still talking about at least half of the working now being gone. If you have half the jobs, but none of our amount of people,
tills, so you need managers. Okay, you're still gonna have some.
You dump that. No, the guy dumps that till into the fucking bucket, and the machine counts it.
That ain't happening.
Well, dude, that's a lot simpler than a lot of the other.
It's a lot simpler, but nobody's created that kind of robot
technology's there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
no, not even a Coinstar.
Okay, so
there's bank machines. You throw a wad of ones in, it'll count you exactly.
I know we have those at work, but I'm saying here's the thing. You just said the guy. Who's the guy that throws the bucket in?
The one that's not getting paid as much as a manager would, who is having to do the same thing.
A Walmart manager, pretty much, it's very rare for any of them to make $15 an hour.
But hold on.
What I'm saying is it doesn't have to be anyone special.
It still doesn't matter that. The most common jobs in America are labor that is at risk of being automated. That's the whole point. So most common job in America.
By that point, it'll all be electronic anyway. If you want to go by the whole, or you put your money
if
into
there is
a
no
vending
physical
machine,
tender.
Either you use cards, chip, whatever implant they put in your skull.
They ain't doing that.
I promise you they'll be implanting arms within
good Lord, dude,
by next 30 years.
If there's anything from watching Black Mirror that I hope is that everyone just looks at Black Mirror and goes, this is all the shit we shouldn't do. We should just, some things just don't need to go beyond a certain level. I
promise you in 30 years there'll be an implant you can get in your arm that has your just same thing as putting your phone up to.
Oh no, I know that's gonna happen.
I don't even think we're 30 years from now.
Yeah, that's gonna happen within 10 or 15 years.
That's an NFC chip.
I think
that's what I just said, and Saul was acting like I was crazy.
I'm talking about for the somewhat close future.
Well, if you had the option between taking cash or just taking digital, or digital currency or online trade, whatever you want to call it, with the debit cards and
physical tender.
If at the cost of having to hire 5 more employees, no, fuck it, we won't take cash. Most people have debit cards. Most people have the chip.
Yeah, most people.
Well, if you do that, then you force the need for them to all go toward that anyway. You can control the market within reason.
That doesn't work. That's why places still accept checks, because they can't force people out of checks.
To an extent, but I still go to the point of, let's take it back to the most simple thing. And the most simple thing is that the most common jobs in America, truck driver, warehouse workers, these are jobs that are the most easy to automate away. These are the first ones that will be automated.
They're the most easy to wait. They're the most easy, but they're the most expensive.
And the automated trucker thing,
they're expensive because of the drivers. If you can make the driver out, it becomes a lot less expensive.
You need special roads for that.
Yeah,
that's in a lot of sci-fi things, but I think that is actually, a lot of people think that's one of the first ones that's going to happen. But due to hazardous material and stuff, it'll be it's a long
It just
way.
Depends on what you're carrying, and there will always be certain aspects of it. But there's easy things carrying furniture. No, even if you build special roads, it'd be fine.
They'd have to build special roads to make truckers, especially stuff like carrying long-bodied vans or sets.
And the first 5 malfunctions that cause a wreck.
But everyone says that's going to be the first thing, and I disagree with that being one of the first things.
Yeah.
That's usually
I don't mean first, but I'm saying there's some of the things that are going to be the most impactful that are going to be, hey, we can automate this away. Uber and all these people are already working, Tesla as well, on automated trucks. That's already something that's in the pipeline. I don't think it's crazy I don't think that we have to say we're 30 years from now. I'd say that we're probably within realistically 10 years from now. 10 to 12.
15 to 20 is what I think, because you got to think about it. Once these trucks cause an accident, the first 3 or 4 times, they're taking them off the roads.
Yeah, there's a lot of, in truck driving, especially with, depending on the cargo and how you have to brake and do certain gear changes based on your elevation and stuff, it's a lot more complicated than just going straight.
But that stuff doesn't have to happen when you move to electric vehicles, which is all what
that
happens.
They have trains that are automated. If people want to move freight on trains, they can already just toss it on, but that hasn't caught on.
But my thing is that you're saying popular jobs that are easy to replace when you're not thinking of bartenders, bus boys, waitresses. Those are not easy to replace with robots.
But even then,
I'm still saying
most common
demand.
Common job in America still, though, is what I'm talking about, and that's truck driving and warehouse work.
Yeah, but then you have delivery drivers. That's one of the most go-to things.
You're looking for a job. All I'm saying is you're going to replace some jobs with more jobs, but at some point, more of the jobs are going to be able to be automated away, and then you have less stuff to do unless it's involving specifically with creating apps or dealing with coding for those things.
Get a good leader to make new jobs.
But how do you handle the people who are even so 10 years from now, people who right now are 50? Let's just say that. People who 10 years, let's just say it was 10 years from now, even if it's 15, let's say 15, 65. Okay. They don't have enough money to retire. They still need to work. But now all the jobs they can get, all based around coding and stuff that they don't know how to do. How do you teach somebody who's 65 adequately to code so that they can get a job to survive? Or in the essence of that, and that's where this presidential race is so weird, do you find a way to take care of these people who are essentially they're just outside of a window? There's probably a good 20-year window of people who are not going to be familiar enough with technology, but whenever certain jobs start to get automated away, it's going to be very hard to be able to teach them to do a job that they can still actually do. What do you do with those people?
Well, I think.
Do you take care of them?
What do you mean, like give them governmental assistance?
Yeah. Well, is that how you handle that?
Thing. In 15 or 20
do you
years,
make sure that there always has to be some layer of basic jobs that someone can do for at least a certain amount of income?
So you said around 60. In 15 years, we'll say 15 instead of 20. We'll say 15.
Sure.
45. If you're 45 years old right now and you're not at least learning how to use electronic devices to some capacity.
Well, I mean coding. I mean that's what I'm talking about.
It's
more complex.
I don't think coding is going to be it's not. You're going to be more so needing people who are mechanically inclined than you're going to need coders. There's already an abundance of coders. There's already abundance of coders and programmers.
Yeah,
there definitely is.
There definitely
is an abundance of it.
Well,
it takes 2 people to code the program. Say 2 people for a company. You got 2 engineers you got to have engineers that design it. You have a couple coders that do the program that runs the basic operation of it. But you're going to need people who know how to hands-on maintain that equipment.
Well, do you not think that would be automated away as well?
No,
eventually. I mean, and then it would mean that there's always a robot.
It's too much.
How much of the job force you take away?
Cognitive thought, or like hands-on. Because there's no one simple way to fix stuff usually. Like your printer jams, there's no just, it's something in that. There's, much more complicated extent, but it's not just, there's no way they can code a machine that, I say there's no way, but like say if some part is stuck or something's broken, they can sure code it to tell you what is broken, but the way to fix it or to get it out or how to, to diagnose it would make it easier. Yeah, where you might not need as many, but you'd still.
Well, if you can diagnose it with electronics, why couldn't another electronic fix it? Now, eventually you're going to hit a point of there still has to be someone on there, but how much of that workforce you're taking away? That's the only thing and I'm not saying that I'm saying that these are the things that I don't completely understand. How do you deal with this moving forward? Because eventually, with automation, yes, there's always going to have to be people that have to do certain things. Like, so you mentioned driving certain truck things that you're dealing with. You're not going to automate hazardous materials. It's just way too dangerous. It'll pretty much I would imagine that's almost always going to be handled by a person. But a person can also make an error. And then we have that situation where like that truck blew up here and not very far from us actually, and left a crater in the road. And the guy who's driving the truck should have gotten out, but he still died.
But if you can automate that away. If that was automated in that, because the tires caught on fire. If it was automated, and it wouldn't say someone didn't code it right, and that bitch kept on rolling on fire, it could have took out a bunch of people. They wouldn't be able to isolate it. Which then again, in theory, you can technically have something to shut it down or something. But that situation wasn't man-made. That was a natural occurrence, and he didn't handle it correctly. Yes. If it's automated, it's not going to be handled any different. Yeah. It was just going to sit there and blow up.
Part of what this comes down to is if you're talking about roads that are built specifically for this, then it's really not going to. If it's on a road that's built specifically for this and on a path that's leaving on there,
then you have all those people having to build those roads.
Yeah, infrastructure is definitely if anything, if it is that the answer to having automated vehicles or automated at least freight vehicles is going to have to be that they have to be on their own roads. The hardest thing is going to be if that's the answer.
I'm
not
saying it's possible. That's usually people's first. Oh, this is the first thing that'll be automated. I really disagree with that.
I don't think first. I think it's the first major thing to be automated.
I still disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there's too many regulations and technical things that go into that.
People have the goal of automating that, but I really think there's a whole list of it. We're really far away from that because it is not, it's not as simple as
we're seeing some automation now, right? It's like with Walmart, Walmart's though I guess Walmart has it to an extent, right? I mean, you check yourself out. That is some form of your automated teller, essentially. You're going through and doing a checkout line at that point. Banks are going to automated tellers and stuff like that. But I mean, it's happening whether or not you lean into it, right?
Walmart anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from that.
No, I've gotten.
Where do you go grocery shopping at?
What? Either Albertsons or Sam's. Because I buy in bulk.
Sam's is Walmart.
I know, but it's different.
But Albertsons is still good.
Yeah, I don't have. If we had a Costco, I'd go to that.
I would too, yeah. But or at HEB or somewhere.
What in the hell is HEB? You mentioned it.
It's just a Dallas grocery store that's pretty nice. Think of like Albertsons.
Okay, so it's like
a nice Albertsons that's still fairly priced.
There's a Whole Foods in Shreveport.
Yeah, fuck that going there.
Can you imagine driving an hour every day to get your produce and your goods?
Whole Foods has good.
Not every day, but I mean like once a week or two times a month.
I bulk shop, son.
Yeah, well,
that's why.
If my wife,
and cost efficient way
maybe if I'd cook too, but I do a bunch of other stuff. So if my wife would cook, then maybe, but that just doesn't happen very often.
Why don't both y'all cook together and make it easier?
Yeah.
Okay, then why don't we both make a bunch of money and pay for all the bills together? It'd make it a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Ooh, that's
fucking rough.
I touched the nerve on that one.
No, but my point being, how about we both mow the yard together? That'd be easier. How about we both paint the house together? But the reality is she's scared of ladders. She doesn't know how to do some of the yard work stuff. I don't know how to cook. She knows how to cook more than I can.
Useless. I can't get.
No, but
it'll be a good day for you once lawnmowers are automated.
Nah, man. I don't. Honestly, if anything, mowing the yard is not the worst thing. It's
I wouldn't trust
the fucking trees and shit that I have to trim.
I wouldn't trust having an automated lawnmower. I'm like, that get my dog one day.
Probably.
That's a Stephen King movie, isn't it?
Automated lawnmower.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's not when you start riding it.
killer clowns from outer space, killer lawnmowers from outer space.
Man, I just never realized something. A fucking automated lawnmower is like the equivalent of a Roomba for an adult.
First of all, yes, they have to exist. I know that an automated. They definitely.
Well, they do. They're on a rail system.
No, I've seen one that just free roams and knows your yard and cuts.
Fuck that shit. That ain't real. That ain't real.
Well, see, but it's just like a Roomba. It's got all these sensors, so it has a thing, and if it sees something that it thinks is something, it just runs away from it.
Automated lawnmowers have existed for hundreds of years, thousands of years.
Called humans. Oh, the goats too.
That's also true. Yeah, look at this. Automower, Husqvarna. $1,500.
That's not even a bad price. That's about as much as a nice wine lawnmower.
And look, if you see how depending on which one you want, Walmart's got one for $4.79 if you really just don't care about quality.
Yeah, that's about
oh, never mind. This is the swimming pool cleaner. My bad.
Who was I talking to the other day that said they're getting a recliner from Walmart? And I'm just like, no, dude. Save your money up and get a better one.
I didn't know that was a thing either. Automated in-ground pool cleaner. Like you just throw it down there and
it's a ball?
Dude, no, it's waterproof and it literally goes in the water and grows across the bottom and cleans all your stone and shit.
I've seen one that's like a ball that rolls around on the bottom of the pool and like gets up algae and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of like that. Interesting.
But yeah, like I don't think
one of the comments on the whiskey thing is will it be better than the new album?
I don't think though in terms of like or what I do think is that we're gonna have something called we're gonna have 2 to 3 ages. We're going to have the age of beginning of technology where...
We're way past the age of beginning of technology.
I'm talking about the auto technology.
Okay, automation.
So that's where it starts.
So the age of the beginning of automation.
Yeah, we're going to go through...
We're already in that.
A bronze technology where it starts to incline rapidly within 5 years. And then that's what I was talking about is that where in 5 years we can't really predict.
Would you call us in the Stone Age right now? Because I would disagree. Because technically...
compared to what
I think we're in the
saying,
renaissance of it.
Well...
And honestly, what sucks is... you're talking about these jobs like warehouse jobs and that'd be the first thing. Honestly, I think a lot of the first things would be stuff like McDonald's, stuff that'd be the easiest because you can automate the hell out of a lot of that. They already do it with a lot of their drinks and set up the fries things to you'd have one guy just go dump into the fry barrel that gets distributed into the fryers
But I think we'll have a dark
You're right
age.
for those drinks right now. You just tell it what you want, and it literally pulls a cup down, sprays it in there, and then you just put a lid on it.
Well, I think we'll have a dark age where there's a decade period or longer where that's where it becomes hard for anybody to find a job because it's all being automated.
My ass will be mountains off grid.
And then
here's what gets
weird. There's a golden age where humans don't work anymore. And that's what everybody wants.
That's the one that people get into the what do you do? What's your meaning for life then? If you don't have to do anything, will you do anything? And that's the question I don't think anybody quite has the answer for.
How do you pay for the robots?
I hate that analogy so much. What is the meaning of life if you don't have a job?
I don't mean that. I mean that if everything is automated, what do you find yourself doing? Not everybody's naturally musically inclined. So people be like, well, they'll be art or something like that.
Well, but go learn.
It's like
just because you're not musically inclined doesn't mean you can't learn.
Well, what I mean is I definitely
why are you learning?
I know people
to give you
right
something
now.
to do.
So
not
that's
everybody
it?
who plays music. No, yeah, but that's the thing.
No,
not everybody who plays music wants to get money out of it.
Well, see, because now you got to think the reason we have jobs is because we evolved out of hunting and gathering to where people did special skills for trade to a bartering system. That's how it went from people. That's what you did all day. Is you went and found the fucking food or you farmed your fucking food. And it's like, well, I farmed this and so farmed that. They traded. Oh, well, I have a bunch of pigs. I trade you a pig for this food. And, or these clothes, this sword, and it progressed. Well, then you get to modern America, or it's industrial the industrial where people. I mean, and it was before that even, but a little bit before that. But that's when you got into the sure shit. These are jobs.
It's like now you have a textile mill. So, it's like I can make. So
now you have to buy
here.
stuff.
So I guess,
and that's what people are. That's technically what you do every day. Instead of going out for hours and hours trying to track down a deer, you're gonna you sell your time away.
And even then, what money does, the upside for what the idea of money is that money just gives you something that you can show that you, essentially, I traded my time of my talent for this money, which acts as a coupon for me to go anywhere I want, and this is how I pay for what I get. Whereas if you took money out of the equation completely and we tried doing this, it would have to be like, okay, I know how to mow a yard. This person knows how to cook. I mow her yard, she cooks for me. And don't get me wrong, it's not that doesn't work. It's just that when you have this many people and different skill sets, it gets hard to do that. When you're in a closer, tight-knit community where you know what everyone does, it's easier to kind of rotate this through. Everybody kind of understands what their strength is and where they fit in that. But when you have as many people as we do you think, it gets weird. Either way, my point is that certain people, definitely right now, I know people in my own personal life who sometimes there's people who hate their job, but they're like, also job's the only thing that's really keeping me going because I don't want to do anything. When I'm not working and I know I got to get up to work because it's the only way I can even afford this house that I wallow in, I just wallow. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's the answer for everything because it's obviously not. And like you brought up in the Triangle Squared episode is that mental health stuff is really weird right now. Yeah. And maybe that could be overcome if we get to a point where people understand what they've got to do to fix whatever this is.
And then like that's what gives him something to do to get his mind off of it despite the fact he hates his job. And then his job is paying for a house he loves.
But then there's also people who literally love working and that's what they do. They go to work and they're like, I just love having a job and it pays for this nice house that I enjoy.
I don't think it's fair to sit there and analyze that and say like, well, that's what would we live for? Because there's people, billionaires don't have to have a job.
But they still work.
But they still work. That's
not
the weird
always.
part.
Nah, dude, you'd be really surprised.
Most billionaires are head down.
At Brett's, the people who were not billionaires, but damn near close probably by now. A lot of them, hell, there's people who run the HR department who owns a lot of the businesses in town, like the cookie stores, Smashburger, and all that. He works there.
Yeah, and those people, that's fine. Like that's understandable. But there are people who once they hit like a lottery or once they they sell an idea, they're done. They retire.
That also exists, but most people who are, and that becomes the thing. Because I guess it's because you said billionaires. Most billionaires, you only become a billionaire by just constantly going.
There are people who
they have the mentality of constantly fucking thriving.
There are also people who are on like governmental assistance programs who get a house because their parent died, and then they don't work and they just live off the assistance programs for the rest of their life. They don't do nothing.
Yeah, and don't worry. I'm not saying that they have no value of life. It's just I think there are certain people that need the idea of not even a job. I think there's a certain people that need the idea of, well, you've got to get up and start your day and do something.
Well, then that's when
otherwise
you
don't
go
get
to
anything
the
out
gym.
of it.
You go pick up a hobby. You go meet up with friends because guess what? You don't have a work schedule.
But that's assuming that people are going to do that. And the other side of the argument.
But why would they not do that?
Well, why would people not do anything all day anyway and get
because
to 600 to get in
600? No. We're talking about people who literally
don't do nothing that are 600. Hell, I've seen it. There's the people that are.
He's about 600-pound people who
that's
just
depression.
that's all they do.
With mental disorders where they have eating habit problems. What I'm talking about is that
if you're not doing anything where you feel fulfilled, depression is easy to.
That's a small subset of people.
Dude, to be honest, when I go out and do hard work, as much as I physically hate it because it makes me tired, there is like being in the sun is important and good.
All we're doing is cycling back to mental health.
Well,
I know. I brought that up earlier.
What you're saying is, people would actually do. There's plenty of people who have part-time jobs who would live, with they live with their parents, they don't have to pay for shit, and they work part-time to have money to do the things they want. They still don't do a goddamn thing all day.
Yeah, they're fucking lazy. That's a different thing. Like I'm saying that.
But you're including the entire group. You're saying everyone
that does that.
People are fucking lazy. I mean, and whether or not they think they are, it's scalable.
Well, and
there's
hold on,
always someone who's lazy to someone else.
It's also easy to be lazy in our current time period because
you don't have nothing to do.
We're even across the board. Even people who work hard these days are typically lazy in comparison to versions of humans that lived forever ago, where they did exactly what you have to say. You had to chase your prey all day and run all day. It's like we don't have to do that anymore.
Coming from all day.
Why are they lazy?
Well, it's lazy in context to us.
But why?
That's the weird part. We don't know.
Well,
sometimes it's just hold on.
We do know because we have jobs and responsibilities. They're lazy because they don't have jobs and responsibilities.
Well, no, I just said they had a part-time job.
But I'm saying the ones that don't.
Okay, but what you're getting, you're agreeing with me, but disagreeing with me because you're saying they don't have responsibilities. Well, if no one has to work, everything's automated, and
there is
some sort of responsibilities. But I'm saying, why would that kill your motivation to go do things?
It won't. Not everybody, but a lot of people.
But those people,
won't.
That's my point. The people who are already being affected, even if they have part-time jobs.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be people.
If I didn't have to, I don't know. If I didn't have to work and all my shit was paid for, and I got to do whatever I want, I'd probably Wikipedia myself till I died.
I mean, see, that's the thing. Like if something like that would happen, if there would be people who are the same exact way in this day and age who would just sit around and do shit all. But then there are people like us who we could easily say, oh, well, now we can do the podcast 3 days a week. We can do Dick and Shit Best 5 days a week. We can play video games and stream those. We can go out and go to the gym and hang out. We can go bowling. We have date night, Taco Tuesday, whatever the fuck it is, and have a happy life. Just because those people are lazy and this...
I'm glad you brought it back to that, because that's where I was about to say is, take it off the global scale and let's bring it into something that we all actually understand, which is each other. What would we do if suddenly we did not have to work?
Right.
I have a farm and a garden.
That's what I mean, though. There are certain people who all it would mean for them is that they immediately now have time to fucking do whatever it is. If they want to wake up every morning, rub one off for 1 hour, and fucking go.
Mine would still be work. But it's
but it's work that you choose to do.
Yeah,
all work is work you choose to do. First of all,
work for somebody else who doesn't enjoy doing it. Because like for you, it's work, but it's to keep you busy. It's like what we're talking about.
Not even busy. It's just I like the idea of self-sufficiency. It's very gratifying.
It keeps you busy, keep you fed, keep your mind off things. You're not sitting around wallowing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not sitting around jerking off all day.
I could have afforded somebody to paint the entire house. I have the money.
Yeah, but you know how, so you might as well save some money.
Exactly.
And there you go.
And it feels good. Like when it looks good, whenever I get done with something, I'm like, hey, instead of me going, it looks good because I paid someone else to do it, I get to go, hey, it looks good because I did the damn work.
Well, you got to think about it too, is that.
But that, and I get not everyone's going to have that.
Well, in the golden age too, specifically creative people are going to be having the most fun.
Oh,
because people are going to need entertainment.
Dude, honestly, if we didn't have to work anymore, I would start. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know about Blaze for sure, but if I did not have to work anymore, I would do more of the podcast stuff, and I would also start doing music again.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I can't is just because music has no room in my schedule anymore at all. It's either this or it's trying to do music. And you're right. I'm not even saying that a large swath of the population.
I'd make lo-fi beats to study too.
There you go. That'd actually be pretty fun.
But it's not that everybody would. It's just that there is a section of the population that how does this affect them? And there are people who are, and I don't mean this in a negative way, there are people like my stepdad who are simplistic enough that what they want is a reason that they don't have to come up with them of their own, just a reason to go out and work. That's what they want. It keeps them happy. And I mean that, and Billy has really no money problems. So he doesn't mind getting more money. He just retired and literally went back to where he was working because
a lot of people do that when they retire.
Needed that.
That's a good point. A lot of the ladies I used to, that retired, that used to be my customers, they'd be back in a month and working part-time. Well, and talking to my neighbor,
most of the time, it's not even money. A lot of the time, it comes
down to they've been retired 3 different times.
And that's what gets weird. Now, I guess your argument is still somewhat supported there because these are people who don't have to work, but then decide to go work because they just want to have something to do.
Yeah, and then
that's fulfilling to them for whatever reason.
At least there's a perk of having extra money too. Like, this is my booze money,
that is
my
definitely
bingo
a perk.
money, whatever it is. Where in that point in time, it wouldn't exist.
So in your golden age, there is no thing as money.
There is no thing as money.
That's so hard for us to get away from because
it's not something
we've already had currency, and even going as far back as the idea of like
there's never been nothing.
As soon as
it's always you had something to exchange for something.
I mean, there will be something like that,
but it's just weird because it's like
it just won't be money, or it won't be a dollar bill.
Someone will find a way to make something that counts as it because they want to have more than someone else.
That's the other thing. That's competition between humans. But we almost need that because without competition, how do you get crazy shit like computers and cell phones?
Depending on competition too, that's what it breeds corruption.
Unless, I guess the idea at that point, right, is computers and cell phones would have always come around, and just the way they did, if people who didn't feel like they were pressed under the thumb to have to do these in weird ways, it might have even come about better. No, but who knows? I actually think
it's always been about money. I really want to watch that movie Edison. Or is it Edison? It's about.
I mean,
Tesla. It's about Edison, Tesla. It's got Cumbersnatch in it.
Oh
yeah,
Cumbersnatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's got him. It's got the new Spider-Man dude, Tom Holland.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it looks really good, and it's about Tesla and all the different.
Is it already out, or is it something that's coming out soon?
It should be soon.
It's about it's probably about the theft.
The whole electric race. Yeah, and the idea of the first people to they were marketing it. Who was going to make money off of it.
Yeah, and that's how to determine which one won. Is who had the better marketing, not even about who had the better product necessarily.
And then the allegations again.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Have you ever seen the thing where people were talking about technology as we know it would not have existed if we would have went with Tesla's? Like, if Tesla would have won out, technology as it exists wouldn't have worked because things like batteries and all this stuff would be actually messed up if electricity were just essentially in the air. You would not be able to have this because it wouldn't work the way it does.
But they would computer chips and whatnot. It would have developed different.
Now, how it would have developed, who knows?
Well, that's what I said. The entire branch of technology would be different.
Yeah, but that's just what's so weird about it is that half the things that we hold dear.
We use lithium batteries. We probably use something else.
Well, who knows? It's just that you have to get components that are not going to be messed with an electrical field around you.
Yeah, any kind of static.
Have you ever been to any place that shows off like miniature scale versions of what Tesla was doing?
Yeah, the not Discovery. What was it in Hot Springs?
Yeah, see that one's really cool.
Is it called the Discovery Place?
I can't remember what it's called.
Discovery Place is in town.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Mid-American Museum.
That's what it is. Mid-American Museum. That place is awesome. You can go there. Have you been, Blaze?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I mean, you really should go. It's got a bunch of cool scientific stuff that you can go and play around with. But they have an Edison show that you can do. They also have one of those theaters where you sit in the chairs back, and then it's all a curved roof that's all white, and then they have a projection that goes almost 360 degrees around you, essentially. It's like 270 degrees, and you can just look around and see that. No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, me and Hannah went like 2 years ago.
Are they still Hot Springs?
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, they have a big Tesla thing where they show the Tesla coil, how it worked, what was going on with it. It's cool. It is kind of like, it would be interesting to think if electricity was just flying the fuck around you, but what effect would that have on us? But we're already in that because, like, what the fuck effect does 5G and 4G and 3G networks have on us?
Yeah, it's like, what kind of repercussions are we going to have in 20 years for fucking around with Wi-Fi next to us?
Already right now, there's technically studies that show that 5G can at least in some way, shape, or form not help cancer, if nothing else, if not lead to cancer, at least in some very, very, very. It was in mice, and it was still a rarity, but
it was in male mice too.
Yeah, and
that's how they're gonna.
Maybe that's how we trade our currencies. We trade.
Is that how we make the male mice gay?
Of ourselves.
We done made the frogs gay. Let's make the male mice gay.
No, they're going to get rid of all the give cancer all the men, then the women run the world.
Oh, this is a conspiracy theory. Now we're here.
I see that.
We've reached the conspiracy theory hour.
They've made movies about stuff like that.
About killing all the men so that the women can rule?
There's a very common trope in history about that.
I mean, I'm sure. But about, Amazonians, if that's not even based off of real stuff, who the hell knows? But, I mean, you lead to stuff like Planet of the Apes,
They'll just have us in milking factories.
Death by
hung upside down.
Only the ones with the good genes, though. So
hung upside down with a hose on my dick.
Upside down.
It has to be upside down.
Oh,
how much do jobs like that pay?
Could you imagine a job of just being strapped for 8 hours with like your eyes having the little things that hold them open, and the whole time you just having to watch hardcore porn, and there's just like a thing that's just constantly like
Jesus Christ.
No breaks. That's essentially
you'll be sterile after a year.
I'll find a way to kill myself being tied up.
That would be horrifying. But that's essentially what cows that are treated poorly from milk. That's essentially what they do.
Yeah.
They keep them in constant forms of like faux pregnancy pregnancy just so they can.
Have you seen mini cows?
Well, no, please explain mini cows to me.
That's why
mini cattle.
Well, that's one reason I would not. I'm rooting for Beyond.
Oh, for the Beyond Meat stuff?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh no, and it's not bad.
Oh yeah, dude. Scale, and I know it sounds crazy to say this. No matter what you do, the half of our problems come from the fact that we just have too many people.
Yeah.
Well, if that's not the damn cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. But at the same time, is this just because we fuck with people's genes and go, hey, you know how that cow's fucking huge? What if?
Yeah, that's what
we just made it really short.
That's why I don't like miniature horses. Because aren't miniature horses?
And my dad was like, I'll show my dad. And he goes, now those are. I can get behind that. If that thing gets out, you body slam that son of a bitch.
What about miniature horses? I don't even know.
I would love it.
Well, what I mean is the miniature horse somehow natural, or is that?
I was telling Jess
I mean, it's of course bred weird, but are they some half donkey?
I was like, we should do a mini animal sanctuary, like where it's all mini.
That seems inherently like maybe not.
Well, because he has a mini pig now.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Oh, we haven't talked about Pigtricia on here. Please let the audience know about Pigtricia and your struggles.
Well, she escaped, and then it was
immediately,
almost immediately.
And then it was a week.
A week.
Oh my God.
She lived a week in the neighbor's field and wood line area because instead of going back onto my property, she went to the neighbor's property. We finally lured her out with Oreos.
I thought you were gonna say bacon or some dumb shit like that.
No, so we caught her, and essentially it was a week long of me trying to catch a pig, and the piglets, and it's a mini piglet, fastest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life. No, we got her back. Now she's She's in the we have her baby gated in the bathroom, and today she's pooping and peeing in the litter box already.
How does the poop smell?
I mean, it smells like poop.
Does it smell like zoo animal poop, or does it smell like?
I mean, it's poop.
Well, first of all, it's a mini pig, so it's not like a massive turd.
No, it's almost pellets. So they're like
and it's going in a litter box.
Yeah, no, she is pooping and peeing in a litter box. I barely had to show. I just kind of like I took a litter box and I cut like a lower entry for it.
Oh, for her to step in, yeah.
And
let me tell you, litter boxes don't always help instantly.
No,
after covered up.
Well, no,
after covered up, they help. I'm telling you, when Evie starts to take a shit after she's had some fancy feast,
before she's covered
I swear, the first time that she did that, I
there's
swear to God,
still time in
between.
There's still time between. Anyway,
yeah.
But no, dude, she and today
air resistance meats.
I came by and she was begging for me to come over, and you know, I've been trying to get her
she was.
I've been let me handle her.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Anyway, I started. She let me start petting on her, and then I got behind her ears.
Yes, you did.
I got behind her ears and started scratching, and she kind of did the freeze thing, and like dogs do, and like the back legs started sliding down. She went and fell over, and it presented her stomach. I started rubbing her stomach, and she's just happy as can be.
I love it for the people who only watch this as like an audio podcast, because then it's just cut off at a certain point.
She was letting me love on her, just pet her belly.
That's good. I'm glad that she's getting back around to being used to you, because I can only assume that the way the escape went was that essentially Jess let her down thinking what harm could happen, and the pig was just like, fuck y'all! Like, y'all took me from my family and my home and everything I've ever known, you monsters.
No, she loves Honey Nut Cheerios.
Dude, she's also...
I got her a Korg ball, one of those little I put some peanut butter and Cheerios in it.
Wait, hold on. You just said my favorite kid snack: peanut butter and Honey Nut Cheerios.
Dude, this thing would fucking kill you for a Cheerio. I promise you.
Oh man.
Is that a cork ball?
A Korg? Is that what they're called? The little red. They're not even a ball. They're like the little, almost a hive shaped thing.
Well, what's the point of it? Is it for you to put treats in?
They're for dogs. Yeah, you put peanut butter in it, and the dog goes nuts trying to lick inside the ball and to get the peanut butter out. And you do the same thing with this.
That seems like a tool used for people to be like, I'm gonna get my...
No,
those people do crazy shit with their dog. The long running story in movies of my dog used to lick peanut butter off my balls or whatever the fuck weird shit.
There's like,
it just seems like a way to get your dog way too hyped about peanut butter, and then you just one day do the old bait and switch.
Well, there's balls like that for cats too, that they're small, and you could put like little catnip treats in there, and it encourages the cats to smack it around.
It is called a Kong.
A Kong?
K-O-N-G?
You aren't wrong. You're not far from Korg.
Oh, Kong is the brand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a Kong. It's just a
honey.
It looks like a snowman.
No, you just put stuff in it, and so they chew and go crazy for it. No, she loves that. And then I got her. It's a cat dog toy. It's a ball, with the little kind of squishy, but it's hollow on the inside. And it's honeycombed. So you put like squeeze a big treat in there, and she's trying to root it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to get one of those.
And I had Cheerios in her blanket, so she all over her blanket, digging through it, trying to find Cheerios.
Is that your sound for like motorboating too? Because it just sounds like it just sounds
well,
like.
I mean,
it looks
you gotta,
like
you gotta
such
see
motorboating.
That's what a dog does. Any animal,
they motorboat whatever you're.
Is it brand name Cheerios? Or is that like the little big bag?
It's brand name right now, but that was just because we're trying to get her to like us.
I hope she can't tell the difference.
The moment that she gets used to it, that bitch getting malto meal.
Well, actually, what they're for little treats. Like when we give her a bath, you throw a couple in there, and that gives her where she kind of chills out. And, and stuff like to get her to play with the toys so she stays interactive. But mainly what they're for is you kind of chop them up a little bit and mix them with their pig pellets to get her used to eating pig pellets.
What's a pig pellet? Is it like a vitamin?
No, it's just like feed.
Oh, okay.
It's just
in pellet form.
So it's something to wean them to their
no, that's what they're gonna be eating. It's pellets. It's a big bag of feed.
Well, he's saying that you put the Cheerios on.
Yeah,
to
wean them to get it where they're eating their normal food, and you put a little less and a little less. That way, they're excited about their normal food.
That makes sense.
So she'll eat it.
It's all mind tricks with animals.
Did I tell you the vet we called that we're taking her to? The lady on the phone ended up actually being a mini pig breeder.
Yeah,
and she was giving us this advice on certain things, and she has a male that's about 3 months old, and she says it's hard to sell them after they get a certain a little bit older. So anyway, I'm building a pen. Probably gonna have a second pig.
Oh my god,
for free. Also, okay, when you name a pig, Pigtricia, what do you name the male now?
Kevin Bacon.
Okay, I just needed to know.
That's a common one. I want to name him Biscuit if he doesn't already have a name.
You name him Biscuit? Biscuit and Pigtricia?
No, Biscuit was the compromise. I wanted Chicken Biscuit. But just I'm not.
Pigtricia and Biscuit sounds like the premise for a good
We were looking at Reddit on pigs, and a lot of people there's Amy Swinehouse. I was like, damn it.
Jesus. I'm surprised.
I like Pigtricia. That's pretty.
I like Pigtricia. I know. It's like, what is the... Okay, if I say a common name for a pig and you say babe, what is the same thing for a cat or a dog? Dog would be like what?
What's the... Well, I mean, okay, dogs get weird, right? Buddy is one of the... Or Bud for short of Buddy is pretty common. I've known a lot. What's the dog
that saved people?
Lassie.
There we go.
Yeah, but that gets weird, man, because it's like so breed specific. Whereas like, here's what I mean. The common person knows more about at least a little bit more about dog breeds than they do pig breeds. So if you just say a pig and you say babe, they're gonna think that about any pig, realistically. The moment that you say Lassie, then there's almost like a recognition that happens where if you see a pig, if you see something named Lassie, you're going to expect it to look at least somewhat like you expect Lassie to look. If you see somebody named Buddy, you can be like, is it a golden retriever or even a lab in general?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of what you expect.
But yeah, she was playing with the neighbor's dog too. She's just...
Yeah. But that's what gets weird about that, is that most people know more about dogs than they know about pigs. So it's easy to just say a pig is babe. It's really hard to just say a cat or a dog is one thing, because it's all going to be tied around the way that they look at least a little bit. You know? You could probably get away with like Bendy.
I like the spot.
Bendy could probably get away with Lassie because she's long haired and she's an Australian Shepherd. She's not a I can't even remember what Lassie is off the top of my head right now.
Well, I'm not talking about specific dogs.
But like but even then, I'm
talking about like specific, like just dog names, like
common dog names. But I still think that they're kind of like, it's like Garfield is a common cat name. But
it's an orange cat.
Every time it's an orange
cat. There was a cat at PetSmart called Dorcas, little kitten.
There it was, the little white one that has like brown spots.
We played with
Dorcas.
We almost thought about getting him.
He's nuts.
Yeah, he is. That's why we didn't think. That's why, like, we were sitting there and like we were getting Evie cat toys and cat food, and we were like,
do y'all take Evie with you to PetSmart?
No, but we should start.
You can.
I'm scared. Me and Jess are talking about what they're gonna do when we have the harness for her. If we just walk to, she's gonna have all her shots and stuff. Just walk her up in.
Dude, they don't even ask if you have shots. You can take any animal you want.
But like, yeah, just walk in with this damn pig's smarter than any dog I've had just about.
I would be worried about another animal trying to attack it though, for what it is.
Yeah, true.
Like another dog.
Anybody? Okay, I'll say this, but at the same time, I've seen some other stuff. Anybody who takes their dog there, they should be trained enough. But
you would think that, obviously, just like when you're crossing the street, you should look both ways. And this asshole still stepped out 3 feet away from my bumper while I'm driving the other day. I'm just like,
people will speed through that.
You're not even on a crosswalk.
Yeah,
died.
I don't know. So people taking their dogs. There was a dog that was just walking around the whole store pissing, and I was like, "Do you not like? Did your dog not understand? Like, why would you bring
those people out?" I'd be like, "Yo, get your animal."
They should. Yeah. I mean,
are you gonna clean it? I don't get paid enough to clean it.
They should, but I mean, I don't know. I think it should be on the owner should be on the owner. If you're gonna bring your dog, you know that your animal. Let's just say that if you're gonna bring your animal is trained enough to be in that situation with no problem. Bendy, fine. I don't think I could trust Vash, so I don't take Vash.
Yeah.
Bendy can handle it. She's perfectly fine, and she's been there with us before.
I will not take Vash. We also got Evie from PetSmart. I don't want to take her back to like she might have like
go back. I'm going back here.
War flashbacks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you really think that? Well, okay, I'm not gonna say that. Obviously, you can tell when certain dogs have had certain situations. Because have you ever had a dog where you've been like, okay, perfect example. We had a wiener dog one time, Tiny, and we found him. He was all beat up.
Tiny wiener.
No, but we found him out in Falk from the woods, or near Falk, where my dad used to live. But it's close enough. It's like Genoa, Falk area. He came from the woods, and he was eating up fleas. His head was all scratched because he was scratching on trees and stuff. And he was a really small puppy. But we were like, okay, he was just a puppy that got born or got lost, or maybe got ditched pretty young. But then we started noticing, like, around certain people, immediately he would get, like, he'd be perfectly fine against everybody. And then he'd see certain things, bam, go off. And there's nothing I could do about this. Is how it was. It was black people.
I knew it. I was going to say black people as a joke.
But that's real.
Because you said Falk specifically.
Yeah. Now, that's what was weird, though, is that Falk is not common for that. If you don't know anything about Arkansas where we live.
Yeah, you don't want to live in
Falk is a very weird place in that most of the people in our town, Texarkana, because it's outside of ours by about 20 minutes, most people know it as the place where there really aren't black people, and that it's
rare.
It's known as a racist area.
Terrible place.
Now, what was weird is either this dog was just true to where it came from, which is near the spout, and was like, okay, here I am. But it really seemed like the way he acted was very much like never again.
No, yeah, like he had a black owner that beat him or something.
Yeah, and that's what gets weird. And what I mean by that is, I was going to say maybe animals don't remember those things, but I think if it's a traumatic experience, maybe. I don't know that.
Not only that, but like,
I don't think that Evie would really be freaked out too much about going back to PetSmart, because I doubt she was really beat or anything there. But it still was, she didn't have a home. She was just kind of there. Well, and I think that sometimes we put our own things on the animals sometimes. She may not even care because now she knows that she has y'all. But at the same time, I guess it's possible.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Dylan, our old dog, he used to hate car rides. He would not get in if he knew he was going to the vet if he got into the cab.
Oh, yes.
But if he'd get in the back and ride all in the bed of the truck all day long. But if he's getting in the bed, he'd.
See, animals are keen in ways that you don't know.
Yeah.
And what was more weird is, like, dogs have limited color. They're not color blind. They have a limited color spectrum. So the way they see stuff is very weird. That's why I remember thinking that it was odd. Because, like, used to people would be like, dogs are colorblind. And when I'm young, and I didn't know anybody, we found Tiny when I was probably 13, 12.
Didn't that all stem from, like, Homeward Bound? When they did, like, a dog view and it was black and white?
I think you're right. Yeah, but they see very muted colors, and they see certain colors way stronger than others, and they can't see certain colors at all. Yeah. So they are, like, partially colorblind. But yeah, I remember thinking it was weird because I was like, how does he even know what to? I guess it's a shade thing, and I was like, this is weird. But yeah, animals are way more keen than I think a lot of people give them credit for.
They are. I would really like to live as an animal for a day, but if I ever
which animal? A
wizard, a cat, or a dog, it'd be one of the two.
But if a common household pet,
if a cat, or if a wizard came to me and said, you got to live as an animal for the day, I'm gonna say, okay, but I want to have a conscious of a cat or a dog. Like, I don't want to think of myself and be like, all right, time to lick. I want to, like, fully live on as that animal. Like, I want to see how it is to live through their tiny little brains.
Well, doesn't that mean that you can't carry any of your own previous experience with you? It's almost like you've got to go in that body. It'd almost be like you completely lose who you are for a day, but you live as a cat, and then when you come back to yourself, you have the the intrinsic.
I don't think you'd be able to process any of it afterwards,
because it wouldn't make sense to you. You don't have any of the body,
magic.
Anything.
Magic.
Magic. It's the answer to everything.
Yes, magic.
Destiny's got a problem. Space magic. Don't worry about it. Disney has a problem. Princess magic.
That Disney Plus subscription.
Actually, you know what? Plus. As somebody who gave it a lot of shit that they were pulling stuff in some ways, when it was just going to be Disney, problem. They added Hulu and then they added ESPN. I don't care for sports at all.
I know, but still, that's when
now
you're already
it's
paying
starting to be like,
or so for Hulu.
I pay $1 a month, so I am kind of like bummed because it's almost going to be like, well, if I need to pay $8 a month anyway, I might as well get Disney Plus. But if I do that,
until they actually start putting out good stuff on there,
Disney Plus is supposed to have Pixar and all that on it.
It's supposed to have a Home Alone remaster too.
Have you seen that tweet about if Home Alone was?
Well, I saw that, but so Home Alone was Fox originally, so I guess they own it now because of that. Is that what it is? Or was
Disney owns Fox?
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying,
is that why they can do it?
Exactly what I just said. But what I was saying is that
the hell.
That's what I was making sure of, because I didn't know if it was Fox or if it was Homeline Cinema or whatever that.
I think
old
the first one was
Homeline
called. Cinema, but I think Homeline Cinema was then bought out by Fox for the second or third one.
That is probably what ended up happening.
I'm not looking forward to that, honestly, unless it's literally Macaulay Culkin.
Oh! You said remasters. You mean like a reboot or a remake?
They're remaking Home Alone.
Oh no! Don't do that.
Yeah. Have you not seen the tweet about it? They should make people mad by it. This guy was like, they should make all the racists mad by making it a black kid.
Yeah.
And then people were like, somebody is that really?
Somebody said, but for the movie to work, doesn't the dad have to come back home?
And I was like, damn.
Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
I was like,
now see, the joke worked because the person who said it was a black guy.
I will say, though, knowing that it's Disney would probably do that.
That's Waddles.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. But
good Lord.
Can you
imagine? Are them teeth?
Can you imagine? I don't. Yeah, they have little teeth.
Let's see. Who made it? Let's see.
But
boy, whoever had the idea for Home Alone was a genius.
Who? What do you mean?
The only reason I say that is, look, this movie had a budget of $18 million, which is tiny. Don't get me wrong. It was
back then.
It was more. It was always distributed by 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
So, but anyway, no, 1990, 18 million was still rather small. I mean,
not for a movie.
Hold on. You know how much it made in the box office?
Billions.
476.7 million. Oh boy,
it's made billions over the years though.
Well, okay, like Lion King. Lion King's budget was like 14 million or something like that, and it made
that's
almost a billion.
Cartoon though.
No, yeah, I know.
But
it also
kid in a house. My biggest thing though is something that I really like to think about is that when Macaulay Culkin on Joe Rogan, he said he doesn't have to work a day in his life just because of those royalty checks from Home Alone. Anytime they air it, he gets like $600. And it's like, you know how many times they air that in Christmas time alone?
Yeah, what's more funny about that movie is that it's like a de facto Christmas movie despite having nothing to do with Christmas.
Movie. They're going away for Christmas. It's a
but
Christmas
that's it.
movie.
That's literally the only thing that makes it a Christmas movie.
Hold on. There was something that people were going to argue now that's a Christmas movie. What was it? Oh, Shazam. That's a good movie, by the way. I saw that movie for the first time like a week ago. That's
it's good, right?
It's the best thing DC's ever
Easily
made.
the best DC movie.
Yeah, I loved it.
Actually, I'm not going to lie. I think it was better than a lot of Marvel movies. But that's personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if I can co-sign on any of that.
Better than Thor, the first Thor. Better than Captain America, the first Avenger.
Better than Captain America 1, Thor 1 and 2.
I mean, there's plenty of Marvel movies I haven't seen at this point. But no, either way, it was an obvious step up for them. But also because of the fact that you could tell it's like they have no care about bringing Shazam into the rest of the universe because it's like they could.
The rest of the universe,
but they're not worried about
dead.
Yeah, the rest of that's what I mean. It's
literally, you have Robert Pattinson playing Batman. You don't have Henry Cavill as Superman anymore. So it's like they're really gonna have to reboot for like the 4th time now.
Yeah, I know, and it's ridiculous. You know they're doing a new
don't say
Green Lantern.
Oh my god. You know what's crazy is I think that the Green Lantern we got back in 2008 or whatever, 9, I think that's going to be the best Green Lantern movie we ever get live action.
What's funny is I don't think that movie was awful. It wasn't great.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It was not great. And there are way better movies. Like Iron Man, the first Iron Man is a better movie than it.
When does the Jay and Silent Bob reboot come out?
By the end of this year.
At least they're making fun of the whole reboot thing.
I like that because originally when they said reboot, I thought it was going to be a legit reboot. And I like how it's like... They're making a joke on the fact of reboots. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a really good trailer.
In a time period where you see something like that, because I actually really wasn't all that excited for it when I thought it was supposed to be a full reboot. I was like, oh, why do you need that?
I knew the way Kevin Smith works, though, is like it would never be a true full reboot.
Yeah,
he's never done that. Like with Clerks and Clerks 2, they're two completely different. They're two completely different movies at what they are, but in the core, they're the same.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's essentially like
the most vocal monster can I've ever heard.
It sounds like there's something in there.
It's a monster.
I'm double checking my numbers here. Okay, the budget for The Lion King was $45 million.
Okay, that makes more sense for a hand-drawn movie back then.
And 94, which is also more than Home Alone. My point being is that Home Alone was not a high-budgeted movie.
But it's a handwritten, voiced-over cartoon versus a live-action kid in a house.
Cartoons used to have lower budgets for the longest.
Not on that grand of a scale of a movie.
But back whenever Disney was in their little renaissance, but it made $968.5 million in box office, almost $1 billion in 94. You know how filthy rich you'd be with $1 billion in 94? Dude, people are talking about all these things of like all these movies hitting $1 billion now. That doesn't even matter. Okay, Avengers made $1 billion. You know how much like stuff isn't worth the same anymore. What about this? Also, the Avengers breaking $1 billion. That movie cost like $300 million to make. This was $45 million and made $1 billion.
And that's why they were able to buy Fox.
Yeah, that should show you. That should show you how bad our economy is. Back onto the economy. What's a good interest rate for a house?
Oh God, you bastardo!
I don't know how that.
Am I the only one at the table who still has their tonsils?
I still have my tonsils.
You ever get stuff stuck in between your tonsil and like the side of your cheek, or whatever the hell this is, like your neck? I have something in there now. It's very rare, but when it does happen, it hurts, and I hate it. And I haven't been able to get it out.
Are you sure it has to do with tonsils? Aren't tonsils like pop?
No, they're
back direction.
I mean, I can't actually touch them, obviously, but they're back around.
I got mine taken out when I was like 8 or 7, so I didn't know anything about them, and I never cared to learn.
Yeah, very. I mean, I don't know anything about them until I started getting.
Aren't they like an immune system thing? Okay.
They act like a filter for like when you breathe.
And that's why you can get tonsil stones too, because it filters out calcium in your diet.
So can you get tonsil stones if you don't have tonsils?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's like saying, can I get gallstones if I don't have a gallbladder? You kind of have to have the fucking thing it's named after. But I mean, if you could, that'd be terrible.
Well, I always thought tonsil stones was bacteria and calcium deposited from like your...
Essentially, yeah.
I thought it was from like your overall mouth health. I didn't think like it had to do anything with your tonsils.
It technically,
I mean, it still has to do with your mouth health, but it's your tonsils.
Capturing all that extra calcium and
And the stones form in your tonsils, and you see them in your tonsils, and they can fall out.
Them,
no, Annie gets them from time to time.
Oh, Annie still has hers?
Oh, they're gross as hell, man. I have to get like a long Q-tip, and you put peroxide on it, and
yeah.
I haven't had one in a long time, but that's just it depends on your diet. Since I've been eating healthier, I know I haven't had them.
Yeah, I know it's weird too because Annie eats pretty healthy. She gets them like once every 3 months. Does she drink
a lot? Because also, if you drink a lot, that's a possibility.
No.
Well, I mean, are they not just calcium based?
I mean,
I guess it can be kind of anything. It's filtering anything.
If she drank a lot of orange juice, would that be a problem?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not a doctor. You should have been a doctor, Saul. We need at least one. Actually, should have been a lawyer. We've talked about this.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
We're not giving our idea out over the...
No. Yeah. Even though I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, no. It's our ticket out, Saul.
If you need a cartoon... we need cartoon animationists.
Actually, no. The oldest thing that we've always said is that one of us or one of our friends, we should have gotten real in close with somebody who can animate. Because we have all these stupid ideas that would be great as skits, but they'd be way more hilarious when you animate them.
Yeah.
Like the long-running thing that... I think Saul swung back over to actually finding funny, but the whole...
No, I still find it stupid as fuck.
We all eat booty down here, Georgie.
Still stupid.
We all eat booty down here, Georgie.
But look, dude, that was genius. And first of all...
It was topical, too.
When you think about it, it was topical for the time period. And also, I completely agree that the scene where he's doing the little stupid Pennywise dance, if you just have if you have him grinding on a kid's face and just doing that and have it...
Alrighty, guys.
You'll eat booty, too.
Thanks for watching episode 7.
No, don't you cut us off yet. I'm not. Nope. It has not been 1:30. Nope.
We refuse, Saul.
55 seconds.
Hey, two-thirds vote.
Yeah. You lose. Democracy, motherfucker.
Bam.
You can tax this dick.
I'm so hungry.
I can't afford 10% off of this dick.
I'm so hungry.
You see they take 10% when you give the dick, and then you lose 10% when you receive the dick.
No matter what,
you're gonna end up out of dick eventually.
I had to explain that to someone the other day. They're like, "Wait a minute,"
and I get 10% off for owning this dick.
It was somebody overseas. I can't remember where, if it was UK or what. But I said no. Income tax is the most common tax form in America. I was like, it's the basic of everything. I was like, what we have. Well, no, you still get income tax by the government. You don't get.
They tax your income. They tax you when you spend it.
That's what we're talking about.
They tax you when
your
you
income.
own it.
I know, but I'm just specifying Texas doesn't have state income tax. I said that twice.
Actually, and there's a vote.
I know, you said it like 8 times this episode.
Hey, get this fuckery. There's a it's going to be on a vote, and it's set up to where you have to vote yes that you're essentially it's not worded this way, but what you're having to do is imagine it being worded as yes, I am against them adding income tax, but it's worded like if you say
like
no,
a double negative.
Essentially, because if you say no because of the way the bill's worded, you're saying because most people are older people. Oh no, I don't want income tax in Texas.
Is there something going on with Texas right now?
Yes.
You know what's fucked
up?
up?
So if you say no, you're voting for income tax. But if you're voting yes, I do not want income tax.
What if this is a ploy so that gets you to say yes?
No,
and then they change it around and
that's
actually
what I'm
make
saying.
it.
That's why I said some crafty.
No. You can if a vote happens on a bill, that bill cannot be changed.
But what I'm saying,
I get what you're trying to say.
What if they revised the bill? Because you could still revise a bill,
but not when it's already been voted on.
No, I'm saying before. It's not currently being signed right now.
So you're saying
it's being voted on, you can't change it.
But what
a bill can be presented to someone before signing dates for people to read.
And then change it when
That's
they
what
go
I'm saying
to
is
it.
what if it's a double negative?
But it's already a double. They already made it confusing. But you're saying what if they even swap it out to where most people figure it out?
Them fuckers.
Yeah, they're like
not enough people are going to figure it out.
Everybody signed yes to it. Then they get there, they all sign yes, and they change the bill just a little bit with a revision. Now you got fucked over, and if you didn't read it, you're supposed to sign no.
I don't know though. We hear that shit all the time, and none of
yes.
it's ever changed. Like I remember hearing for years, Arkansas is about to do away with the fact that you don't have to get you don't have to do any kind of inspection on your vehicle. That still hasn't changed. Everybody was like, "Well,
we've never had to."
I know. No, that actually is not true. But that didn't happen until
in our lifetime.
In our lifetime, it's mostly been that we don't have to.
Yeah, but
that was Mike Huckabee is the one who actually put that in place.
Who said?
If I'm not mistaken.
Who said we're ever gonna have to do it again?
It was voted for a couple years back.
Are them fuckers?
Because Dad was like, "Oh damn it," because that made because it makes a lot more effort on his part.
The border city exemption had people say it's going to be voted on and changed, hadn't changed.
Yeah,
so either what it means is that these things are either rumors that are happening and not actually getting voted on, or they get voted on and everybody just overwhelmingly keeps it the way it is.
Uninvolved we are in local politics.
Honestly, it does.
I hope to God they say border city exemption goes away, because then the second Texas does that new fucking where they have a different time zone thing, it's gonna fuck over everyone who works in Texas and lives in Arkansas and vice versa.
What do you mean? A different time zone for Texas?
Texas was thinking about doing something like Arizona where they go to their own time zone. But they go to a separate time zone.
That's gonna fuck us.
All right, it'll be set the same as Central Time, but I get it. Like where it's not that they're going to be their own time zone. They're just probably not going to do.
Well, that would be the problem, though, is that if Arkansas keeps it, we live in Arkansas but work in Texas, we immediately get.
So there's always an hour difference depending on where you are.
Not always an hour, but at least depending on what time of the thing there is. During daylight savings, where they push the hour forward or whatever it is, that was when we'd be off time. But then we go back in time. There's another place like that, depending on what time of the year.
That's what it is. So yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that already exists.
Daylight savings times,
that's already how it is.
So that means that if you would go to Texas, you'd leave Arkansas at 6 p.m. and get Texas at 7 p.m. and you literally driving across the street.
So that would suck because you technically get off an hour early.
Technically, you get off at 5 and you get back in Arkansas at 4.
Yeah, which would be weird, or 4:15 or whatever. But
I can make it to my dentist appointment.
There you go.
There would be a benefit to that, but I would fucking hate waking up.
Or imagine
at
working
5:45.
But it'd only be half a year.
Yeah, but
but he has to get to work an hour early too. When you think about it, he has to leave here. If he leaves here,
then he just lives his life for half a year on a different hour basis. You know what I mean? Like just do everything. Well, I go to bed at 9 instead of 10.
Yeah, but then it goes to things like I got to go to GameStop real quick, and like if we didn't have one on Arkansas side, you cross that border and went from 8 to 9. They're closed.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm sure there'll be.
Or even if it did,
it was a joke referencing that if they cancel border city exemption, that would actually fall under time zone change. Would fall under that if Texas had a different time zone.
I don't know. I think the border city exemption is literally only about taxes. But I mean,
it's a very unique thing to Texarkana too.
Yeah, but
I know that
because there's a dramatic difference between Arkansas income tax and the no income tax.
According to one of our
Arkansas has one of the highest
dramatic difference. Yes,
according to one of our lawyer patients, he said time zone is included in it.
I think you're just pulling shit out of your ass right there to make you sound.
I'm dead ass serious. I'm not gonna say his name.
If you were a lawyer, I'd believe you.
So if you were a lawyer, you know what?
You should have went to law school.
You
disappointment.
Listen, I'm gonna
start now.
You want me to go ahead and throw out the idea of that show?
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The idea of what show?
I'm gonna spoil the show.
The show?
The show.
Like MLB The Show 2019?
Wait,
you have a cartoon show?
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a cartoon show. Go for it.
It's called. Thank you all for watching episode 7 of Dickish at Best.
You know what?
You can
eat booty down here.
We can eat booty down here. Let us know in the comments below. Do you eat booty down here?
I'll eat booty down here, Georgie.
And
you'll eat booty too.
Let us know if this was a good episode.
Is it a butt-shaped balloon? Like
yeah. And then that noise balloons make it.
Thank you all for watching.
This is genius.
We'll see you all for episode 8. Brett, get your hands on the thing.
Whoa, sexual harassment.
You're over here talking about eating booty. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks to our patrons, Chad V, Dan Barber, Josh Jarrell, Matthew Green, my name is Dan, Douglas Below, Sean Santarud, Eric McAllister, Matt Sycamore, Shadowist, Steven Salazar, The Stoner, Travis Below, Eduardo Palomino, Stefan Swanlin, Coy Live, Philip LaGuerre, Corey Hickerson, Brian, Donovan Williams, William Digital Spooker, Derek Porter, Josh Ayers, Thomas McKinnis, Brandon Edwards, and Sean One Neo. If you would like to support the show in any way, shape, or form, go to patreon.com/Nartech. Thank you.
Let's get on with the orgasm.